Welcome to the Cthulhu and Cairo review, the only review that has the host with the best hair in town. I mean, look at look.
You are.
I mean,
Yeah.
damn, right? I was just giving it a quick comb through before I started. I was like, Jesus, it's like my third good hair day this week. Really, really.
Tight.
I mean, I need to stick with this this barber. Yeah, absolutely. And it did me all right. I gotta let it grow out like another week or two. I gotta remember to time it for Origins to like cut it, and give it a week or two to kind of smooth out. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm super jealous.
I mean, I feel your pain. I understand.
Hair is
it's important.
It's a big deal.
It is. It is. Good Lord. But we're here to do the review. So this was some wild ones. We're doing what ones we're doing? We're doing 79 to 81.
Yeah.
And 80 to 81, yeah.
Yeah, 81. So we put a bow on the Siberian thing. Thank God. That was traumatic and tragic enough. Jesus. I think I put a meme on Raz's thing when you realized that episode 77 wasn't really a dream.
Yeah, that was. I apologized. I said I was sorry for that.
There's no need to apologize. It's a good story.
Please apologize.
Please apologize.
The doll in the coat pocket was the one I think that everybody just. They're all on camera looking at me going, wait, whoa.
You rat bastard. I know that's what they're saying.
That's
what
all
I
the
would
time.
say. Exactly. How was your feelings going into these, Amanda?
So I have 80 was a hard episode for me. I have some notes, 79 there. You know how I am. I'm anal. I can't help it. There was a moment in 79 where Joel mentions that he is talking. Oh, shit.
Joel, who is playing
Jack Cavendish.
Jack Cavendish.
Yeah, sorry.
We forgot to touch on that. What's the douche meter on Jack Cavendish now?
Hold on one second. My dog just unplugged my.
Oh, okay.
Canine difficulties.
Please stand by.
Sorry.
You're fine.
The joys of having an animal that you're his person for.
Exactly, right?
Yes, I'm very blessed in that aspect. But there was a moment in 79 that I wrote down specifically because listening to it, Joel mentions that Jack has had experience shooting a lot of things, and Raz said family members, and he goes, hush now. And I it stuck in my head, and I was like, oh, maybe we have a little bit of foreshadowing there in Jack's backstory a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was really interesting. And in 79, Faye is, pleading with Ella to go, to try to figure out what is happening with the guys. And she's like, do you really think they're going for reinforcements? And Raz is like, no. And I laughed so hard. So great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting, when Ella shot the guy, and she did a very good job as a player, making it seem like it was a more mercy killing, rather than a cold-blooded,
haha.
But listening to it was kind of like, man, I don't think that was really. I don't think so.
I'm doing both of us a favor.
Right.
Especially me.
Especially me. I don't want to have to hear you gurgle.
Gurgle starts at 3 HP. You're at 1. We're going to close this out.
So, this combat scene really turned the tide on them. This part of the combat, because they were looking bleak at the beginning of, at the end of last scenario.
Yeah.
The last
Honestly,
episode, there was
they had so many good roles. Like they had so many critical
Yeah.
hits and shit. It was like they didn't. I don't even think they had a round in this episode of fire back. I think they all fired and they were done.
Yeah, I think one of them missed, and then the rest of them just got drilled. And that'll show you the dice rolls will turn the tides in your favor almost every time, unless you're just dramatically overpowered.
Yeah. It does tend to take the wind out of a sail,
especially for a GM who's like planning something horrible.
Well, when you're setting all this stuff up, and listen, we all want the dice to do what they do. Otherwise, we're not really doing we're doing a radio drama, not a real play adventure. But there, every once in a while, you're just watching these numbers, and they're taking photos with their cameras, and they're showing you what they rolled, and you're going, God, I hate you.
Yeah, I know. Can I put the fear of God in you just one time?
Yeah. So if I don't drop a shaggoth on you and beat you up on a Venetian bridge, it's not enough.
It's not enough.
A couple smugglers in snowshoes ain't going to get it done. Looked like it might, but didn't.
I know, right? That first round was horrendous. I was like,
that was great. Yeah, they were all off. Yeah, because I had them all off guard, and
they were on the ropes, man. Yeah,
100%.
I mean, they do get fairly, at least Catherine and Faye take pretty good amount of damage.
It's the worst Catherine's been injured in the show.
I was going to say, that's exactly what I was going to say. I had not really even realized that was the first, because Jack makes a comment about how everybody's injured. And she's like, oh, I'm going to drag my leg. And he's like, everybody, and she's like, I don't get injured.
No.
I don't know why. I miss her all the time.
With Catherine?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Catherine's like, I ain't got time to bleed.
I mean, for Faye, I feel like it should just be second nature. Just like,
right.
If she's not in the graveyard, she shouldn't even be worried about shit. Like,
I know, right? I'll just traipse right through this. I know. Poor thing.
Fate's an organ receiver card. What do you need?
we got
you ahead of the line.
So I mean, they get through the combat here pretty much okay. I mean, they got hammered at the beginning of it, and then it seems like Vadim's waking up from his dream, and they're backtracking the people back to hopefully they find some sort of shelter or wherever it was these people were at, because they're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then they come across the cabin. I think in the beginning you just describe it fairly nondescript, not as the cabin, and it's only when Vadim wakes up and he realizes where they're at that he puts the oh shit brakes on. If I'm remembering that right.
Yeah, the description was a little bit more. They saw it, they started talking, they were going to go running towards it, so I kind of held a couple of adjectives back, didn't give them the thing. It was on the side, the lake was not far, that kind of stuff. But it wasn't the same it wasn't the same overall description right away. Yeah,
I had a gut feeling like it was, but I was like, it may not be. And then when Vadim wakes up, I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
totally is.
It's Mika's house. Yeah, it was Mika.
Well, I think for me, when Ella was reading the guy,
trying to get a hold of Mika.
Yeah, and no. In before they got to
the cabin, I'm sorry. Yeah,
she was reading the guide to figure out where they had come from, and she said, "Oh, you said it was a trapper's cabin." And I was like, fuck. We're fucked. Well, there. Yeah, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
I could already see it there. That was.
There you go. Sweet. But and then when she does the reading on the doll's head that Vadim pulls out of his pocket, like you did. I'm just going to casually yank this out of my pocket. But it was, that it was like an unseen force, right? That was dragging Ella.
Beating the hell out of her.
Yeah. Like, you're not supposed to be here and all that stuff, which it's doing its thing. Can't knock it. It's got a thing.
Trying to be helpful to people, and you're just poking your nose in it.
Nobody, exactly. This is an A and B conversation. You see your ass right on out.
I'll see your ass outside.
Exactly.
So many spirits are, in a lot of games are designated as positive or negative. Sometimes though, I like to see things that are gray, and it was a gray spirit because while it's trying to do its thing and be, helpful, supportive, and it's taking care of children that are unborn or stillborn and lost and everything else. Why do you have to go and poke it? Like, it doesn't just leave it alone. Like, it's old, and old things don't need to be bothered. And Ella just thinks at this point, since Ella's come into the game, every time they need a snap, crackle, pop, quick piece of information, Ella just touches and her eyes roll up in her head and she starts, going into the thing.
That's not a great answer.
It's not always the answer. Sometimes you hit the wrong thing.
Yeah.
She hit the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Which was that was a good moment between Ella and Catherine. Towards the end of this episode was, that whole, she apologizes for it, but also says, it might be beneficial to have her on your team, that someone that could do it. And Catherine's like, yeah, but maybe not so much. You know what I mean? Like, I agree, but not.
Yeah.
But understand also that this could hurt us. And it was like that episode between the exchange with Ella and Bottom, where he's like, she's going through all of this and he's trying to get the dolls back from her because he sees them getting hurt, like, maimed and stuff. So he's trying to jerk them back from her and kind of like a child, you know what I mean? Like grabbing onto them, like they're mine, like,
yeah.
It was so heartbreaking that scene with that interaction between the two of them going back and forth, where he's trying to get them from her, and she's going through this horrific thing with Nika and everything outside of that. And he's just trying to it was heartbreaking. Like, it was hard to listen to.
It was hard. Yeah. Yeah. It's supposed to be. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with dealing with spirits. I kind of did the same thing with your troop, Raz, with the Coming Full Circle, that first chapter. They first to go, they're basically 1920s Ghostbusters, going to go check out spirits at this house. And they think it's a spirit, and it's actually 3. And one's, malevolent, 2 are benevolent, sort of. But they only have limited means to contact, to warn and stuff like that. And that can be interpreted as malevolent,
Right.
So for them to to dope out what's really going on there, it takes a lot of insight.
Yeah.
Of what's going on there. And I think that was displayed here. Really good use of the don't abuse this too much thing there, Raz. With the I'm at a dead end here to get a read on this. It's an easy out. It's an easy out.
And it's supposed to be helpful, but it's not supposed to be like, let me just, phone a friend.
Exactly. Phone a supernatural friend. Yeah. Exactly. So I got really good use of that. Are you sure?
It'll give you a moment pause later on. Yeah.
Exactly. You really want that nosebleed? Okay.
When she
in all fairness, from Ella, like, Bottom did ask her to do it. Like,
that's fair.
She has a responsibility for her own gifts and talents and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like she kind of got shit on by, Catherine at the end, when really Bottom did ask her to do it.
Yeah.
And, she thought she was helping him.
Yeah.
But he needed help, and she was doing what I feel like was a compassionate thing. She was just trying to find out information to give to Bottom, and she kind of got shit on by Catherine for it, and didn't really stand up for herself in that, which I thought was gracious of her.
Yeah. I hear you. I just, she could have said no too.
Well, and that's what I said, in preference or preface to this comment, that she has to understand her gifts and the dangers of them and stuff like that. And I appreciate that in her character, but she is helping her friend. And, I appreciate that aspect of it too.
Sure.
trying to see it from both sides. But in Call of Cthulhu game, maybe not so much.
True that.
It's like Jonas using the doors. Maybe not all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe not all the time.
So yeah,
maybe not ever again, please.
Really unfortunate but mercifully brief encounter at the cabin. And then we segue into Sevastopol. Which I like. He's like, okay, he's done torturing these people. Rest of us we just kind of do like the Indiana Jones red trail thing across the map.
Right. Yeah. Big time jump. Yeah.
So that was good. And you introduce a part of the game that's rarely done in a Call of Cthulhu game. It's how are we paying for all this? I mean, a lot of times in the Call of Cthulhu game, they're in an isolated area already. Money's not really an object unless you're trying to bribe someone or something like that. But when there is travel involved, I mean, unless you're with a complete money bags dilettante kind of person, and which actually they all
are, yeah,
they all are, but they're cut off from the money. I mean, they're a continent away almost. Yeah. Actually, they are. They're in the middle of the Baltic Sea, so yeah, or the coast of it. So yeah. I mean, look right across, and there's Istanbul, not Constantinople, but it's Istanbul right over there. it's right. It's right there. But they're in there, and they're like, we need cash. Yeah, we're low on cash. And it was a really good work on that of like, how do you get that? Use some credit ratings, make some calls. You've got money, but it's not like you can whip out American Express card. It's not happening here. There are letters of credit and there are traveler's checks, but like you said, those expire.
Yeah.
Those expire after a certain amount of time, and you're like, you would have to get somebody to kind of look the other way and kind of slide a couple extra to get that to pass.
Couple rubles.
Yeah, to make that work. Even then, they're still in a buttload of trouble. But yeah, good. Huh?
I am always like, as a player, I'm always like, I fucking hate GMs that are like, you need to count your arrows and you use this, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. Like, all of that, like, how are you paying for your food and how are you, I hate all that stuff.
Record keeping. Yeah.
I think that this was so pivotal in bringing back the history, bringing that history aspect into it. 100%. And that, you don't, reminding someone like me who literally puts everything on my credit card, it reminds me that, they wouldn't have had this option in that day and age. They, I didn't fucking know that traveler's checks expire. Like, I don't really even know a person in real life that has ever used a traveler's check. So literally, okay. So now I know 2 people in real life that it just isn't a concept that I think about because it's not really a concept that my generation knows a whole lot about.
I mean, the first credit cards really didn't become popular until like the late 60s, early 70s. Diners Club was like the biggest credit card I think that came out. They had Telly Savalas do the commercials, for. So
I remember working for restaurants that took Diners Club, but I don't ever actually remember seeing a Diners Club credit card.
Yeah, I imagine by the time you were doing that, they're becoming passe. Like American Express and Visa was catching up to them by then.
Yeah. So
but I mean that was the thing. You go get a Diners Club card. That was the credit card. You can go out and eat, put down a card. Amazing. It's what a wonderful concept. But yeah, pay for it. Plus 30% interest later. But
a meal plus a third.
Exactly. So having them run through hoops, and he also dropped a few other kind of plot seeds in there. In the conversation with Catherine and Uncle Banks. And
Aloysius.
Aloysius, and with the plaque or what is it?
Tablet.
Thank you. Tablet. It's really great plot drop. He got it right out of nowhere. He thought he got it from Catherine, and that whole conversation, which was cringeworthy. But
well, I remember thinking, oh my God, Aloysius Banks must get along just fucking fabulously with Jack Haddock.
2 giant dishes, 2 great
They-
tastes that go
They
great
must
together.
she should just introduce them and be done. This whole thing can be done. They could just be best friends for
You
life.
just talk. You 2 talk. Yeah.
Let's have a sherry.
Exactly. It's like when you get your 2 friends that from another country that are from the same country, and you're like, you 2 just talk, we'll watch.
Right.
Yeah.
You're both from Finland. Go. You know, in the in the 130, I think we're on 35 coming out now, or 37. Recorded we're at 38. 138 episodes. They've never met. Now they've been in front of Aloysius again, but Jack was on the other continent in Africa, and so there's this whole break of the team for a while later on, and they've never been in the same room at the same time, which I've been dying to do, and they just it never works out.
Sure, they would get along famously.
Oh my God, there'd just be one would have a peep, one would have a cigar, and they would just sit there and insult everyone else around the world.
Oh, how wonderful! Yeah.
Catherine,
What the colonials are doing this year?
Exactly. Damn them, sir.
See, you have any tea? But yeah, exactly. I mean, and then that was a really good one too. With I believe it was Faye that had to go for money.
She had to call home.
Yeah, she had to call home because there was a stop put on it. I thought about the more when I was listening. I was like, man, that'd be a really good way to skip trace someone back then.
That's how you did it.
You if they're out
freeze
and about,
their account.
Yeah, if they're out and about and you don't know where they are, yeah. Where are you at? Where are you? Okay, and now you have some money. I was brilliant. I was like, that's a full-on like talented Mr. Ripley kind of thing going on there almost, But yeah, it was really good. I was like, that's a brilliant way to hang on to somebody. It's like
it was a way to find wayward children, and it was also a way for attorneys to kind of get a hold of wives that may be lost. Like if one of the spouses died, and they needed to, and there was avoidance to whatever for like bills, they would freeze them. And they had the power to do that with the judge's order for 90 days. And by then, people are screaming, "Where's my money?" And then they come back. Yeah, so you can get an injunction on the account and lock it up until they call in.
Pretty brilliant.
Yeah,
pretty brilliant. So it was just enough for these people, this group of lawyers, or specifically one lawyer, to get a bead on her. And I'm like, well, what's this guy got to do? Coming up soon. Definitely this person or their group. Or whatever, maybe Herr Mueller hired them. He's lost track of them or something like that. Where are these people at? Because at this time, U.S. is still friendly with Germany.
Oh God, yeah.
So that could have easily, legitimately been done. So yeah, you throw some money at the lawyers, go find this girl.
Help me out, will you?
Exactly. Well, of course, that's their job. That's what they did. Turned them into skip tracers. Really, really good use of that. I was like, damn, that's. I mean, because I did not see that coming, and I'm like, man, that's diabolical. That's really good. I'm gonna reach out to you from way over here.
I'm just over here in my naivety, like not even realizing that was what was happening. I heard it and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, it may not be, but that's what I'm thinking. That's what's going on.
I didn't rectify in my brain, like, oh, her dad's dead. Like there's an estate and there could potentially be it. So to me, it was just like, oh, there might be an issue with the estate or something like that. So that's why they froze her accounts, and they're just making it didn't even the secondary tier of that didn't even it went right over my head.
I mean, and again, it may be something that's simple, but I'm thinking, man, it's a good way to get a hold of somebody. It really is. Exactly right.
Without cash, nobody likes to. You can't. It's hard to move.
Exactly, especially in the middle of Sebastopol. I mean,
Jesus Christ!
I kept getting visions of what is it? What was the movie? The Spy Who Loved Me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the James Bond one where they're on the Black Sea. They're on the Black Sea in that boat, right? Yeah, that's the Black Sea.
I think so.
Yeah, where he's dumping the barrels and shooting the flare. Yeah, that's the Black Sea.
That should be.
Yeah, it seems right. So I was getting that whole vision of that of that area.
Yeah. Crimea.
Crimean area. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this sounds right. I mean, Sevastopol is a pretty big like port town on the Black Sea.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, it's definitely they can get a lot done there, and there's nice hotels and stuff for them to relax at. But yeah, they got to get a little cash, when it comes time to pay that bill.
I was shocked at the opulence in Sevastopol because the Crimean War in 1870s, 1890s, whatever it was, devastated the shit out of the city. I mean, they were shelling it for weeks, and yet World War I had no real touch to it, right? Because that was more France and the continent. But when I went up and started researching Sevastopol, I'm like, God damn, they put the city back together pretty damn quick. But then you find out that it's the Russian Riviera.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of Russians that live in the north where it's cold venture south to Sevastopol.
Yeah.
So it was a holiday retreat for a lot of them. So there's a lot of money going into it to fix it.
It's where a lot of Russian models go to marry rich people. That's where it happens. Yeah, it's where it happens. It's like
I just know, like Raz mentioned the Zeppelin hangar, and I have like PTSD. So, no Zeppelins. No.
That would have been great.
Oh yeah.
They boycotted right past that one. They didn't even give me a chance. I'm like, oh, go to the Zeppelin. Please take the Zeppelin. No.
They're like, oh, well, we see this coming from way off.
We're not F you. We're not getting it up.
We're not doing that one.
So
it's a good recoup episode to like, okay, we're back in the real world again. Yeah. We're not in the wilds of Russia, just wondering if we're going to survive the next 10 minutes.
It was so much needed. And again, like, I know I say this every time, but like that undercurrent of danger is even in the lighthearted episodes, is always there. Like the mention of the tablet, like that undercurrent of that lurking danger is still there. But this lightheartedness, this regrouping, was so much needed after how heavy 80 was.
Yeah.
80 was heavy. And I remember like when you said that's what we're going to call it for the night, I had to turn it off. I couldn't even go to the next episode.
Like the guy to me.
I had to turn it off and walk away from it for a little bit. Like I put on some music instead and listen to something else because I was so heavy and devastating and heartbreaking. And I'm so curious where Vadim is really in his headspace. Like, How can he possibly? He seems so in 81, like with. Well, I don't want to move on to the next with. Shoot, it starts with a G. What is his name? Where they're at the bar at the very end of 81, where they're at the bar and they meet
Gustav. Yeah.
Thank you. And Vadim is still like, watching the girls and playing that role that he's in when all of this trauma happened to him. And I'm just like, where the fuck is he at in his headspace? Like,
I asked him the same thing. He was saying that for Vadim being Russian and being how hard life is, they compartmentalize their grief.
You swallow that shit down, dude.
And he's like, right now I've got something. I can't fix what I can't touch, and I can't get there yet. But if these girls get hurt, I could be stuck here longer. So my goal is just keep moving forward. And he starts to press I got to get to Portugal. I got to start moving because you're going to find all that out, right? I got to get to where I got to go. Yeah. And there's resolution for him. It's coming. You'll start to see some things happen that put Vadim in a better place.
Yeah.
But he said to me, because I said to him, "Are you comfortable where Vadim is?" And he's like, "I just think he would be like, like my uncle disappeared.
Put your head down and keep moving."
My uncle disappeared 3 weeks ago with a black bag on his head. I may never see him again. I can't do anything about it. Right now, I just go forward. I was like, okay, I get it.
Where am I getting my bread? Where am I getting my vodka? Life goes on. Life goes on.
And not in that order.
Exactly.
Where's my vodka?
Yeah. I mean, that's their whole culture, man. You swallow that shit down.
Yeah.
We don't have time for that shit. Yeah.
So, but the Gustav arrival, it becomes very interesting as we go deeper.
I mean, I like it's just very brief, like at the end of 81, like it's just very brief there. And it was kind of heartwarming for me to revisit, Aveline and her death but it was, Joel mentions that Sid had a letter, and John mentioned that he had a letter, and I'm like,
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, this makes you go back and makes you remember all those episodes that went before. I mean, I don't think it was this set of episodes. I think it was the one before when they're in the truck or out there in the wilderness, and they're talking about the people who had passed on, and one of them pulls out like the picture that they took.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
That was awesome.
In Kathmandu, right? It was
in
Kathmandu. So I went back and listened to those episodes because I'm like, where was that they took that picture? It was like at the festival.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was like, they go back to that brief happy time that they had.
Street food,
exactly. And little guys with pill caps and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was just and then 10 minutes later, tragedy strikes.
I feel like that was probably the last moment of actual happiness in this series.
Wow.
Right.
That's the last moment that the whole group is together. That's the last moment they have this joy to get. Like from that moment on, they're broken, like permanently.
Yeah.
Whatever they've gone through, all of their tragedy that they've gone through, they were together, and that was the last real moment that they were happy.
Yep.
Together. And then, as happy as they can be with Ella and Bottom and Jack. I don't know how anybody can be happy with Jack, but whatever.
Oh my God.
So shady. So shady.
Let that go. Wow.
I'm sorry. I'm a first world modern woman. Like there's not gonna be a whole lot that appeals to me about Jack. Character.
You don't think that?
Great, which is great for Joel because he does not pander to a modern audience. He plays that character the way that character would have been in that time, and it is so exquisite to listen to. It's a great thing that I hate that character.
Yeah.
As weird as that.
So you couldn't be in a room with Jack and have him look at you and shake his glass with ice because it's empty? Like, you're going to get that?
If you want to build on it, maybe.
Let me shove that cup up your ass. Yeah.
Amanda, you may have not noticed.
Be a dear, won't you?
Exactly. G&T, please.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Hitting those right on the head. Like, Nepal was the breakup moment, of the group. It was so horrific and torrential, and then Russia's just been like, Yoko Ono. It's just fistful suck. It's just not going to put the band back together. It's just not. Thanks, Russia.
I mean, and you're introducing these characters like Ella has a lot of fucking problems. Like Ella has a lot of Bottom, who I thought was likely the most solid, like mentally character.
The cracks are showing, right?
Yeah, like the cracks are starting to show in his armor and his mentality. And there's something going on because I remember a scene when they were in the cabin at the end of, I guess it must have been 80, where Jack is like looking into the fire and he says, I don't remember what he said at the time. Like he's looking and he says, you can tell that Jack is not talking to you. Like, oh God, I can't remember. Oh, I wish I remember what he said. But he like is looking into the fire and he says like, it's time for us to retreat or something like that. Something like we're coming into the thick of it. We need to fucking get out, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like, and he says, Joel says Jack is not talking to anyone. And so there is something back, so it's like these characters are coming in, these 3 new characters, and they've got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Like some probably occultish ties and things like that we're discovering.
Yeah, I've been told that Jack's solo is the hardest. One of the hardest ones to listen to.
Yeah.
And it does deal with fire. There is a fire moments. So anytime when Jack's drawn into these special places around the world that they go to, fire and the certain sounds will spark Jack. And it's not good. Like it's bad stuff. So there's more of that coming. There's a lot of that. It's good. It's fun stuff with Jack.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a great moment for everybody to catch their breath, take stock of the situation, and then you see a lot of character development in these parts. Again, you start to see Bottom's not as solid as we thought he was. Catherine's like one more incident from like putting everybody to sleep and putting them on a boat.
No, Catherine doesn't like to travel.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, I will sleep all you dudes. Put you in the infirmary on a boat. Guess what? We're going to Costa Rica. Screw all this shit.
But taking everybody to a goat farm in Costa Rica.
Exactly. I'm sure I can find some goats there. We'll make it happen. Exactly.
The funny thing, I can actually see her thinking that's the right thing to do. Like, I spike all their drinks, I juice them, and then they wake up like strapped to beds. It's for your own good. I'll see you in 3 weeks. I'll be upstairs.
Seriously though, right? I mean, she's a person. I'm throwing in this extraordinary stuff. We all snap different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be this. Yeah, just a matter of that one more again, and this is what's happening. I really feel that way. And it'd be completely legit. You're like, yep, saw that coming. 100%.
We have to have an over/under pool for her,
right?
I mean, right? I don't know that I would put my bet against her.
Odds always do strike up for her, right? I mean, it's almost like the DM's her dad or something. I'm just saying.
I would.
I think it's her. I think it's her.
I remember I shot Aveline, and she's my other daughter. We did.
Oh yeah, I mean you shat on her plenty of times. So
it's very clear which daughter is the favorite. I'm
gonna say I think you're favorite.
No,
Lauren, if you're listening.
Wow, that's Kayla, on film.
Kyla, if you're listening.
Kayla. And no, oh my God, that's on film. Don't do that. No.
I think we cracked the code, sisters. I'm just saying.
Well, even like when Lauren is playing, she's like, I need to take a sanity roll. And then she aces it every time.
That's the problem.
I know. Yeah, she rolls so well when she needs to. She always does it really great. I mean, even playing with her in our our episode.
Yeah.
She really rolled when she needed to. She always does. And I'm sitting here, God damn it.
Now, let me ask you this. Does she know she's taking a risk, or she knows that the odds are in her favor?
For which one?
For anything. She takes a lot of big chances on the dice.
Yes.
And she makes a lot of desperate moves, hoping that the dice come out. Is she looking at her character sheet and going, I got a 60% chance I can make that roll? Yeah. Or is it just pure ass dumb luck?
I think like if I'm looking at it and I'm looking at my character sheet and I see, I got it like a 55, I'm not really looking at that as like I have a 45% chance of failure.
Right.
It's like
full. Glass half full.
Yeah. It's like a bucket. I might as well.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Like the doctor tells you got 30% chances of making this surgery.
If I had to look at that as a like D10 where I had to make a 5 or above, then I would think differently. It's something about the percentile dice that make it less
false courage,
less scary because it's out of 100 versus out of when it. Because one of your is a D10, like
I said, 30% chance that you won't make this surgery. It's like, you know what? I rolled 2 26s last week. Let's do this thing. I'm feeling lucky, punk. Let's go.
It's my turn. It's my turn. The dice are back to be my favorite tonight.
Exactly.
She does have misses. Her medical is just exceptional.
Yeah.
Her constitution is off the chart. Those are her 2 big skills. And she did the constitution. She bumped it at the end only because she thought, I'm a nurse on my feet probably 2-3 days in a row in triage, in certain battles
around you.
Yeah. So they're made like their endurance is just, a cup of coffee, cocaine, and a cigarette, and they keep moving. that kind of thing. So yeah,
Coca-Cola back then had
exactly.
Those are often. I've noticed that like Constitution is often where she'll take the bigger risks.
Yes.
In like when it has to, because her Constitution is so high.
Yeah,
so
she's the animal of the group that way. Yeah.
Yeah, she really does have a. So when I see her taking chances, to me, it's either taking chances that aren't necessarily detrimental. Like it might go bad, but it's not going to be like it's not going to TPK the party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I
just meant, or she's taking risks in stats that she has huge.
Yeah, where she's got an advantage.
Yeah, I think it's an educated risk, educated guess. You're like, odds are in my favor. I can make this. So you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. And
well, that's how she was in Venice. I'm not worried about me getting a play against the rest of you jet bastards. I'm worried about bringing it back. I'm like,
I know, right? That's totally it. That's totally legit.
That was Catherine. Yeah,
totally. Catherine, all the way, 100%.
She's gonna be a lot of fun at the live show. Lauren really brings it. They all do. They all do. But she's so animated and vocal.
Yeah,
her inflection and everything. I think they're gonna have I just hope Seth doesn't get yelled at the first game. Like, just get Catherine unloads on him.
I'm already going to tell him. You know, if he sits beside Catherine, you know, you will do one of these numbers.
Yeah,
just you know, yeah. I'm good. I don't need any drinks from Catherine or her character. No.
Fuck that.
No, I'm good. Totally good. I'm going to give him that idea. Hey, man, I'm just saying.
At some point during the 2 hours, just put a thing over your water bottle and grin at her and go, "Not today."
Not today.
What do we say to the gut? Not today.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Cloud told me, man. Gave me the heads up. 411. I am never living that shit down. Never.
I can tell. I will never ever run a game in which you might die.
It's not the die, it's the poisoning. I think
it's the poison from a fellow first player. Yeah, that's
episode 1.
Yeah, to make me compliant to her the rest of the game, to guarantee my compliance.
I thought she was running the game.
No, this was a Conan game, and she's like this kind of
priestess of Ishtar.
Yeah, priestess sort of cop, kind of like half cop, half cleric.
Yeah,
you know, a city official, and yeah, I'm this lowly sneak thief person, you know, who has information that she needs, and yeah, she's like, you know what? Have a drink. It's cool. We'll talk about this over a drink. Oh, thanks for taking that drink. Now, you know, rest of this scenario. You know,
you have 72 hours before
you have 72 hours to find the answer for me. No, or you're not getting this little thing. Yeah. So no, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all.
I can't.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. I can't believe I fell for it. I completely fell for it. I did. I didn't even see it coming.
I would have fallen for it.
I did. I was like, you know, how many times have I done something similar in my game? And here I am on the player side, just going, okay.
Would you like a double? No, I'm good.
Pretty girls give me a drink. It's okay. But yeah. Yeah, it's exactly how it went. So yeah, but no, I'm not bitter at all. It's fine. It's cool. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. But no, I cannot wait to see. I mean, all of you. You know,
thanks.
We're going to have a great time at the Mixer at Origins.
Yeah, we'll be there.
And the show is just going to be absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't got your tickets yet, I don't know what to tell you. Huh?
I just want to squeeze everybody.
I know, right? We hope we get you there. We really do.
Gotta get you.
Yeah, gotta get you there, and have everybody there together and having a great time doing what they love to do and just providing entertainment to the fans.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's about all we can talk about this one.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. Are you good, Amanda?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. All right, well, thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and we're talking about these episodes. We'll see you in another couple of weeks or so and see what's going on. Thank you all so much.
See you soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Good night.
Night.